Dear brothers, good morning, boys. Made it to Monday. Big week, a lot going on. I'm excited about this week. And I'm going to talk a little bit today about something that I wrestle with a lot. And it's the question that gets asked a bunch amongst people, and it's finding purpose in life. And I know I've talked on here before about needing to know your identity. And no matter what you do, work, business, as long as you are fulfilling that identity, that is your purpose in life. And so one of the interesting conundrums I have with that is that it still begs the question that everybody tries to figure out is, what am I passionate about? What am I supposed to do? I don't love the current job that I'm in. And I know that sometimes my response to that is usually along the lines of, you just need to be really good at it and work to be the absolute best at whatever you're doing. And that is how passion is created. And I still agree with that statement. But I think that for some people, it can be hard to think that way. So I want to present it a little bit differently today. And my hope is that in doing that, we can figure some things out. So I think that when we start looking at purpose in life, which I think too often we associate with our work, like my purpose in life is to be a good doctor. My purpose is to be a good contractor. My purpose is to be a good lawyer, etc. And I think that is still a second fiddle in terms of purpose, because I think that is just the vessel that we utilize to help with our talents. But I want you to think of purpose as kind of having two forms. And the first form is excellence in the performance of your duties. And so that would be the line of thinking where I will be the absolute best lawyer that I can be. I will be the absolute best carpenter that I can be. I will be the absolute best businessman that I can be. Whatever your job is, your physical job, and to that end, all of the duties associated with that, and to that end with your family as well. But certainly from a work perspective, it's being elite at whatever that is and striving to do that. And in doing so, you create purpose in the sense that you are doing something in a manner of excellence. You're doing something to the best of your ability. And so when we think of purpose, that in and of itself is a purpose, to be excellent at a specific endeavor. And I think that that's easy for most of us to wrap our brains around, although I think we get bored. I think we procrastinate it. I think we choose to like certain things and not like certain things. My wife and I have had this conversation of there are days where she loves her job and days where her job is tough. There's days where I love what I do, and there are days where I'm like, man, this is hard today. And that's okay. But I think a lot of people, the minute that difficulty rises into their lives, that resistance hits them, they fall apart. And that is where that constant pursuit of excellence in your work can provide a purpose in your life. I know that Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning talks about finding purpose through, certainly through a job, through a work, through someone that you're close to, through someone that you love. There's various ways to find purpose. But I like to start with that first form because that's what most of us associate purpose with, is that work component and being great at it, but not knowing what kind of work to do. And I'm still going to fall back on, you have to embrace the day-to-day stuff and love that process. There was a Dodge Ram commercial this weekend, and it's, I'm going to butcher the quote, but the end of it is, making a great life is all about the making. And I was like, yeah, that's a great statement for the end of a commercial, because it is about the making. It's about the process of doing things. And I know that's cliche and people are like, oh, well, yeah, cool. Good advice this morning, Jackson. It's the truth. You have to enjoy that process. More than that, you have to believe that what you're doing has reason behind it. That's what gets people in trouble. They don't think there's a purpose behind whatever they're doing. Excellence is the purpose. Being great at something is the purpose. Now, although that is your first line of creating some purpose in life, and I think that it is an effective one. I think by actually being great at one specific niche, that is having a purpose in life, because it's a constant pursuit. You're never the absolute best at it that you could be. You could always be a little bit better. And so the character that is built in that is impressive. However, it is not enough. And I think this is where finding your identity, which I've talked on here before about, is really the divine purpose in our lives. And in the absence of you actually believing in something divine, believing that there's something beyond us, I actually don't think that people can find their highest purpose. Because in the event that you decide that you're going to be excellent at whatever you do, you're doing that for typically yourself. Certainly you could make the argument that I think that we do most things in some capacity for other people, but I think that it ends up being a tertiary and not a primary objective. I think that many people work to be worshipped in some capacity, or they do good things because they want to be recognized. They do good things because they want to be above others. Even if they don't say it from their lips, all of you listening to this know that that is abruptly the truth. That includes myself. Many things that I have done and continue to do, in my mind, I'm going, oh, maybe this is going to make me more popular. Or maybe people are going to like me more for this. But it's about me. There's a pride question there. And so what I truly believe is that if you guys listening to this are really trying to find your identity, your purpose that is divine in nature, you have to start considering to yourself that you have to understand, I'm trying to put this into the best words that I can, because I think this is important, that when you have that identity, it doesn't matter what you do for work. It doesn't matter who you involve yourself with. That is your purpose in life. And to that end, I think the way that I look at this is my purpose is to be the man that God wants me to be, in that it will honor him here, to be a vessel for good things to come into the world, that it may bless others and bring them closer to him. And so my identity falls under that. So if I know that my ultimate purpose is to serve a great creator, it becomes pretty simple at that point to find a purpose and to have an identity in that. And so I certainly have found my identity that I pray about, that I've learned about myself, that I think about pretty much every morning. And it's to encourage and embolden men to be heroic. That is what I do. Doesn't matter if I do that as a strength coach. Doesn't matter if I do that as a writer. Doesn't matter if I do that It doesn't matter what that looks like. That is what my calling is here in life. And so, although it can be easy for me to have purpose in the sense that I want to be really good at what I do for work, I take a lot of pride in what I do in my performance company. I try to be better every single day. I want to improve how I program. I want to improve how I interact with other humans. But what's beautiful is that falls under my general identity to embolden others and to tell stories to others that allow them to find their own purpose and pursue it in life. And I know that this may seem like a little bit of kind of word vomit this morning, but I really want all of you to consider, really write it down. Think about this. Is ask yourself why you do what you do at all. Is it just to put food on the table? That is a good answer. There's nothing wrong with that answer. And then you go down, I'll have to do a show here at some point about the why game, because I think it's one of the things that has helped me immensely, is playing the game of a child where you just keep asking why to things. And I think where it ends is pretty fascinating. But my point is that all of us really need to sit down and go, am I doing this because it's convenient? And am I the absolute best at this? Because I think that that's a starting point, especially for people that struggle with the idea of belief in a higher power. Your purpose in life can just be to be excellent at everything that you do, to be at the peak, to find the pinnacle of whatever your business life looks like. It doesn't even have to be business. It could be being a father, husband. I want to be the absolute best version of that I can, and pursue that with everything that I have. Get rid of everything else around me and just pursue that. I think about As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and he talks about this a lot in that small book, which all of you should own. And he basically says, even if a man fails again and again to accomplish their purpose, which they have to if they're going to banish weakness from themselves, the strength of character that they gain while they pursue that is actually what their measure of success is. And from there, they can then continue to expound on that in life. And that goes back to my point of when you become excellent at something, you can then become excellent at something else and something else, because you've built those habits. The character you have built has done that. And what I would then add to that is the reason, I think that's where people get stuck, is like, I want to be excellent at stuff, but why? What do I get out of being excellent at stuff? And until I think you have kind of that divine idea that I'm doing this to honor God and to honor my existence and to bring more people towards providence, life can feel a little bit empty. And I say this from my own experience. I've never felt more empty. I had a lot of successes and was doing a lot of things really well, and I just felt empty. It just didn't mean anything. And until I really was like, well, what am I doing all this stuff for anyways? And I kind of had a literal come to Jesus moment, if you will. Then purpose became so much easier. Not the process of it, the ins and outs of every day of challenging and guessing and thinking I'm not good enough, but just the fact of, I know that in doing this, I am fulfilling my duties here on earth. And so I know that may have felt convoluted, if you will, this morning, but I thought that it was important that we start this week off by having that discussion on purpose and realizing that no matter what, you should be pursuing excellence in whatever you're doing. And I say that you should be pursuing excellence in that and getting rid of everything else. I think that we allow distraction so much easier today. And I think if you really want to pursue meaning in life, you have to banish distraction. Get rid of Reddit, turn your social media pages off for a while. Unless it's making you money to be on socials all the time, honestly, limit them to almost minimal per week. Just get rid of them. There's not a book in the world. There's not a successful person in the world who's, written books, made movies, become an expert in their field who just sits on social media all day. You're wasting time. And so unless you guys decide to stop being distracted, it's going to be awfully difficult to find excellence in whatever you're pursuing. But that's your starting point. Now, I think if you want real meaning, real identity, a real sense of duty here, I unequivocally believe that you have to start with the Bible and start by realizing that you have a divine purpose, a divine meaning here on earth, and only you can fulfill that meaning. And to not do so would be a true dereliction of duty, but it's a choice that you have. And so this morning, fellas, think about that. Ponder on that. Imagine to yourself, what am I doing and am I great at it? If not, it's a good starting point. And then as you get great at things, you start to realize, oh, this is awesome, but why am I doing this? Why am I great at this? Is it for self-glory? Is it for vanity? Because there's a reason that pride is considered the deadliest of sins, because everything else stems from that independence that you find in pride. It's all about me. And the minute that it becomes all about you, that's why they say pride cometh before the fall. And so when you have that moment of like, I'm great at this, but I still have an emptiness because it's not what I thought it was. That becomes a great time to go, you know what? Maybe I do need to address this idea that I should be doing this for divine purposes. It's something to consider on this beautiful Monday. I love you all. God bless. Be strong. Let's get after it today. Big week. Get in the damn gym today. Give your bride a kiss. Tell your children you love them. Put on your boots. Grab your shovel. Get to work, boys. I love you all. See you.